Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. A lot of us are very proficient in many different things. Sometimes we call it the art of this, the art of that, the art of meditation. I'm still trying to master that for my life, move my life forward. How about the art of allowing? We are going to talk about this today, and I think it's going to open your eyes to a number of different things. She does just that with her practice called the Inner Self LLC. Harnesses the power of energy, spirituality, coaching, so much more. And it's great to have her back here, our professional of the year. Her name's MaryElizabeth. We call her Emmy, and she's with us today. How you doing?
I am just fabulous, Steve. Thank you again for having me.
Wonderful to have you back here. Learned a lot since we've been getting together. And those three words, art of allowing. I think about it, I internalize it. There's a lot going on there. It's just three words, but there's a lot of, shall we say, potential with that. Enlighten us. What are your feelings on those three words?
Well, the reason that it comes through as the art of allowing, because it is a skill set. It is a learned behavior. Because you are taught from the time you are young that you need to work at things, that you need to make it be. But in truth, the universe is your partner in your creation. The universe is here and knows exactly where it is you are and where it is you are going. If you allow the universe to lead, you will get there with ease. But unfortunately, so many of you think you have to make it be. You have to make it all the pieces fit and come together. But here's the thing. You may have the ability to make it be, but you don't understand the universal timing of all things, which is why instead we say, if you have an inspired thought, follow the inspired thought through, but only as far as it leads you. If it stops you, then stop. So many of you continue to push through because you have not learned to just follow the signs the universe brings, which really is just saying, take a pause, take a moment to breathe, shift your energy, shift your focus. And because all has to come into alignment for that success to be. So it is an art of paying attention.
It is. And when we say allowing, we're talking about the positive stuff here, the art of allowing change, good things to come into your life. But you also have to know the difference, the art of allowing things to continue in your life that don't support you.
Exactly. And one of the things, there's a new focus recently that Mel Robbins brings through, which is let them. Let the people around you be who they are. Let yourself be who you are. Let the circumstance unfold as they will. You say the good, positive things, but sometimes life happens. Sometimes things from a perspective of judgment may not feel good to you, but that does not mean it's not intentional, you see. It does not mean it's not there to help you move to the next level in your journey. So you must learn to allow that, the good, the bad, and the ugly too, and accept that in each and everything, there is a purpose. There is a lesson, some would say. But more importantly, there is a process that you must go through. We always say to our Ami, trust the process. She hates that phrase. She's like, yeah, whatever. Which I do.
But you gotta.
But exactly. You have to trust. You have to have faith. That's the art of allowing. The art of allowing is learning to trust.
I just got a download, and I've gotten it before in a song. And this song has dropped out of the sky and given me insight when I needed it. And I'm getting it now in what we're talking about. You said others. Just let them be who they are. Let them be. Song by the Beatles, Let It Be. But the
Sorry,
next
my
bit,
dog.
I'm sorry.
My dog is barking.
Oh,
Sorry.
let your dog be. It's okay. Um, but when you follow the lyrics of that particular song, Let It Be, there will be an answer. So if you let
Exactly.
others be who they are, just let it go. You'll get the answer. But we're so hung up on certain things, having connections to people, uh, letting go. That is the kind of the same thing, art of allowing something to take place or art of allowing good things into your life. Well, in order to do that, I would imagine you got to let some stuff go, right?
Exactly. The art of allowing doesn't mean just allowing things in. It also means allowing release to be, allowing purge energy, allowing yourself to move through with ease. That is the art, you see, allowing yourself not to take it so personally when another leaves, not to take it from a space of, why are they doing this to me? But instead to say, that's them and this is me. You have the ability to choose how you react to everything that life brings to you. You get to choose whether you see it as a catastrophe, you see what others do as a personal affront, or if you choose to see that's on them, not on me. That's their journey,
Hmm.
not mine. And how I choose to encompass it, how I choose to react to it is totally in my space of energy. But the majority of our reactions in life were learned behavior,
Hmm.
which is why we say take a breath and breathe, which is why let them, when you use those words, allows you a moment to see that is them. This is me. What can I do in this moment to feel better about what is in front of me? And sometimes that means you cry. Sometimes that means you just stop and be. And other times that means you follow the inspired thought that comes through and allow that to lead.
Recent situation, want to share it because it's all in line with the art of allowing. Made a change in my life, just something that wasn't supporting me. And after I made that change, and I fought it, held on, I wasn't allowing the change. After I made the change, such a feeling of empowerment the following day, like, wow, this weight off my shoulders. This is the way it's supposed to be. Yes. And intuition said, you should have done this a long time ago, but there it is. A day later, I start reflecting back on, the scenarios and all of that. And it felt like the weight came back because instinctively, or, whatever you want to call it, looking in the rear view, it's like, well, maybe it could be different. What if this? What if that? Instead of instead of using the art of allowing it to go because it's not supposed to be there and you already know the answer. And then I felt just heaviness back again. I was like, why? Man, I'm feeling like drained. Oh, that's probably the energy that I'm allowing back in again. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. And you did allow it to come through, which is not a bad thing. But the fact that you felt bad, you have to be in the awareness. Wait a minute, I'm creating this energy.
Totally.
I'm looking backwards. And we always say, don't look in the backwards view. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, what if we had just the words you used in explaining the reflection of what was? Well, when you look back on what was, if it's bringing through an energy of negativity, we can honestly tell you you've allowed self judgment to lead.
Mm.
Because what if we had done this? Or what if I had done this? Woulda, coulda, shoulda does not exist in creation. but it will perpetuate energetically if you allow it to and you're moving forward. And you will recreate the same scenarios again and again and again because you're allowing Fred to take the lead. You said you felt wonderful in the release.
Yeah.
That is where you stay. This is so empowering, and remind yourself of that every day. This is so empowering. Do I miss the good things? Yes, I do. But the bad became overwhelming. Does that make sense?
Crystal clear.
Again, that space of awareness, being in the awareness. You realize that it was making you feel the burden, but it perpetuated for quite some time before you released it. Is that not true?
For sure. For sure. Oh, I think we might have lost you there on the feed. Oh, I think you're back.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I got you now.
I saw that flash. Okay, good.
We are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. Just saying, things happen, weird technology things. But yes, to your point, your intuition knows the right answer. So if you've already been given the answer, run with it. And so many of us don't, and myself included in this scenario. Yeah, I already knew the answer for quite some time, but yeah, we always kind of look back and like you said, in creation, bad idea. Is it safe to assume that we need to use the art of allowing to make changes so that better changes can come in? What do I mean by that? Sort of like a puzzle. Life is a puzzle, but you can't move the piece over here unless you take this piece out. And then, like Tetris, everything falls into place. If you're hanging on to something, you're not using the art of allowing it to go away and allowing the good thing or the thing that best supports you to come into your life.
That is very true. It is. And as you say, a puzzle is a perfect way to look at the universal structure of all things. The pieces are constantly changing. And if you are resisting the change, you are not allowing the universal flow to be. And thus you are creating not just a shift in your life, but a shift in the life of others too. And you're holding off what is meant to be, not just for yourself, but potentially for others too. So if you look at Emmy has had a friendship that was long lasting, and the time to leave was quite apparent a few years ago. And yet, because it was long lasting, she could not allow that to be. But yet, the energy was toxic in her energy field more than not. But still, she held on. And in that space of energy, in holding on, not only was she holding back the potentiality for herself because of the energy and response and feelings this person brought through, but also for their freedom to step more fully into who they were born to be. Because sometimes when you are feeling the weight of another in a relationship, in a partnership, in a business, and it's toxic, it's dread inducing on moments, we highly recommend you pay attention because they too are being hindered by the energy. They're just not in the awareness. So when you release, not only do you give yourself that space to grow in peace, but you give them that space to grow in peace.
Should you look at a situation? A lot of this is relationship based, but it could be maybe anything. And say to yourself, what's in it for me? And I don't mean that in a, egotistical, self-serving way, but look at it and say, what am I getting out of this? whatever it is. What is truly in it for me? Sometimes I call it the scale of life, and I put the pros and the cons, and I put the scale together, and it could be very lopsided. Is that a fundamental way of looking at this to to use the art of allowing change?
The You can look at that twofold. What is in it for me? You should always ask that question. What is in it for me? What am I getting out of this? But here's the interesting thing. Even in a toxic relationship, you are getting something from it. Because
Mm,
9 times out of 10, it's reinforcing
mm,
a space of self judgment that you are perpetuating. That space of not feeling good enough. And that person just so happens to reinforce that within you in little tiny ways, in pointing out what you should have done better, in pointing out the things about your physicality that are not in your control, but still they know it's your trigger point in energy. You're keeping them there because they are reinforcing how you feel about yourself. In that space of looking at it, what am I getting? If you look at relationships as a bank account,
mm.
a shared bank account, if you are the one pouring in the funds, 95% of the time, you don't have a relationship. Do you understand? There may be moments that 100% is you, but then 100% is them in a month or two. If you can see balance there, but if balance does not come to be, it's okay to question what's in it for me.
Mm.
But you also must be aware, what are they reinforcing about what I believe about myself?
Yes. Well, that's a pinnacle question there because I looked at it initially as what's in it for me as the good stuff. What's
Mhm.
the takeaway? What's the positive? Well, what's in it for me can also be the negative, like you said, reinforcing those limiting beliefs, making you feel like you aren't good enough. So, what's in it for you is potentially not good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's literally, it keeps me in my familiar. People who come into your path who uplift you and who build you and who are there to help you move into that next phase of self-worth, shall we say. Because what you receive from the universe, what you allow yourself to receive, is simply tied to who you believe you are in your level of worth. We often say that if you are in relationships that make you feel less than, they're just feeding what you want to be because they're reinforcing a deep-seated belief. And there's one thing we can tell you: when your beliefs come to be when you are just 2, 3, 4, or 5 years old, children are stubborn and they will hold on to that. And that belief is exactly what you're doing. That 3-year-old ME is stubbornly holding on to, I am not lovable as me. Do you understand what we mean?
For sure. Yeah. And if
So
you're
we'll
in I'm sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
If you're in a
Oh,
situation where whether relationship, whatever, yeah, work, whatever it might be, and it's fostering that feeling, you might not even know it, but it's truly not serving and supporting you.
right, right. And then you question, many times we have people who question, why am I not moving forward? Why are things not changing? Because you're not allowing them to. You're standing firm in a belief by not being willing to see what that belief is about you. We have recently said to a friend of Emmy's that the idea of financial burden is and not having enough is tied to how you believe about your own self-worth. Finances are just an energy that are tied to your level of deservedness and what you believe. So no matter what the daily affirmations may be, no matter what the words you say to others that are uplifting, if you do not apply that same energy to yourself, if your first response is to criticize what you do, or your first response is to focus in the negative, you are still holding on to that space that you do not deserve the abundance that you were created to be, because that is everyone's truth.
Talking about the art of allowing, what's the secret? Is it faith in the universe, faith in yourself to master the art of allowing, to say, yeah, I'm going to allow the good stuff come into my life. I'm going to remove what doesn't support me over there. Um, the art of allowing. What is the baseline for that?
The art of allowing simply is trusting that all comes in your path is what is meant to be. You said, I'm going to allow the good stuff to come in. You have to allow the bad too. There has to be the yin and yang. There has to be the polar opposites you see for you to understand that balance point of your own energy. When you can stand equally in a sunny day as you do in a hurricane, then you know you are in that space of loving self. That is the art of allowing. Allowing yourself to be enough in each and every moment of time. Allowing yourself to see that all comes as it's meant to be. Allowing yourself to trust in you. Follow that intuition that says it's time for me to walk away from this situation. Allowing yourself, when you do, to keep the door closed. Do you understand what we mean?
For sure. Crystal clear.
So when you allow what life brings and to stand firm in the choices you make, you are reinforcing that I am more than okay, that I am enough just as I be, because I can weather any storm equally as I can weather a sunny day, because I trust in me. And trusting in you is trusting in the universe, is trusting in God, because again, you are God experiencing life as Steve.
Many say that you need to experience the hurricane to appreciate the sunny day, and vice versa. And like you said, we have to stand accepting and comfortable in both of those. That's called life. Emmy, how do we find you? You have so many different programs, so much insight into everything we're talking about here, life changing. How do we connect with you?
And anyone who is interested in delving a little deeper into finding their purpose and personal power, all they need to do is reach out to me on my website at www.IamMaryElizabeth.me, or they can reach me via text at 661-524-4544. I have a new program starting on Monday. There's still spaces available. And it's about connecting to the power of me, the power that is you, because you are the driver of your life force. You are the driver of your future here. So let me help you hone in on that space of purpose, passion, and power.
Beautiful. Great talking with you. Thank you for all the insight. Lots to think about today, but all good stuff. And looking forward next time we get together.
See you next week. Have a great week.
You too. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.